All right, so let's talk now about Durkheim and functionalism. Functionalism is the theory within sociology that focuses on how things connect or different aspects of society connect and work together to form the whole. According to functionalists, different parts of society serve different roles. So, for example, education serves to teach you the values of society and prepare you for the working world. Education then is important for when you move on into the other social institution, which is the working environment or business. Thereafter, within business, we have other social institutions that connect with that. For example, the law, government, and various other social institutions. According to functionalism, every single social institution plays a very important role in the society, and every social institution is important within the society. Depending on the type of society, each social institution might be different for each society. However, we all have some basic major social institutions, starting with the family, religion, education, law, politics, government, and some form of protective services such as the police or an army. It varies by society. Some societies don't have an army, some do, but most societies have some type of protective services or the law, such as attorneys and police officers. That being said, let's look at specifically mechanical solidarity and organic solidarity. So we know that every aspect of society functions together. The more a society evolves, the more social institutions there are to work together to make the whole. As societies develop from pre-industrial, meaning before an industrial revolution, to post-industrial, meaning after an industrial revolution, so does the way members within the society connect change. What does this mean? In pre-industrial societies, before we have an industrial revolution, we have agrarian societies, hunting and gathering societies, horticultural societies, and pastoral societies. Within these societies, Durkheim states that we have a mechanical solidarity. This mechanical solidarity really means that bonding between members of the society occurs mechanically. Okay, so mechanically, right? So that has to do with machines? No, it doesn't actually. What Durkheim means is that it happens without thinking, kind of like how machines function. Machines don't have thought, they just do. And so do our social bonds, he says. Within these societies, the social bonds are formed automatically, and it is sort of understood. If you come from a small village, for example, you might be very familiar with people minding your business, and you can't walk down the street with anybody or just anybody, and you can't have just any friends. And if you're in the wrong part of town, somebody will tell your parents about any of these things. So you're constantly being monitored by other members of the society. The connection is that the person that is monitoring you is some cousin, some distant friend, some relative of a relative of a friend of your parent. So in that way, there are these social bonds that are just sort of understood, kind of like how you wouldn't go to a church and disrespect an elder within your church, or you wouldn't disrespect an elder within your community because the social bonds are just understood. And what constitutes as disrespect is very well defined within your society. And it varies by society, which is why when you move from one society to another, what is considered disrespectful changes because the norms for each society are different. Within your own very small village society, everything is sort of understood, including your connections, which we say happen mechanically because everybody pretty much knows everybody. So there is an automatic connection between all of you. As a society evolves, of course, we start to move away from these small villages, just like what happened in industrialization. Sorry about that. In industrialization, societies moved from the villages and went into the big cities. Now that we have these different societies in the big cities, we have members of different communities coming together that don't know each other. And of course, they all have different norms, different beliefs, different ideas about how to relate to each other. And they come together within these large societies. The bonds that form between these people are not automatic, they're not mechanical, it's not understood. Instead, it is more conscious. The bonds that we create in these types of societies are much more conscious. We think about it a little bit more. Now, we say that it happens organically because, after all, people are social creatures and we need people in our life. So we start to bond with people naturally. And that natural bonding isn't based on the same things as they were in our mechanical societies, in our pre industrial societies, where the bonds are because we know each other. In these new post industrial societies, the connections are there because we want to connect with somebody else. And so the connection happens organically, meaning naturally, just like in nature. So, in an organic society where we have organic solidarity, that is, post industrial societies, we might connect with the taxi driver, and you might have a very specific taxi driver. Now, your taxi driver might be from Nigeria, and you are from a community in Corozal, a small village in Corozal. And your Takas lady might be from Oranjewak, and you never met her before you came to Belize City, for argument's sake. So you're in Belize City and you're making all of these connections because now you live here because of because of industrialization. So now that you're living in an industrial society, your bonds are naturally happening. You bond with people at work. They are, of course, complete strangers. You don't know them. So your bonds happen naturally. And they happen because of the desire to form bonds with other people. Of course, the bonds are different because these are bonds with people we don't know. These are strangers. Those bonds are different from the mechanical bonds of our village upbringing or our much more mechanical societies. So, that is the main difference between organic solidarity and mechanical solidarity. Now, what is it that happens when we have these organic bonds with people? Because there is not that sort of helicoptering, that being taken care of by the community in a post-industrial or industrial society, we have challenges. There's not that protectiveness of the small community. So in an industrial society, when you're creating these bonds with these strangers, their commitment to you is different. It's a commitment that isn't due to those long-standing connections that we have in mechanical societies. Instead, these people you're bonding with know you because you're a nice person and they like you, but they're not going to get into your business really because the commitment level is lower in an organic society. And so, in these industrial and post industrial societies where we have organic solidarity, there's a whole lot less monitoring. This lowered monitoring that we have in these societies lead to what we call anomie or chaos. This type of chaos that results from that lack of guidance from our elders in these industrial and post industrial societies lead to things like breakdown of morals, breakdown of norms, because again, we have all these different ideas colliding. The greater the number of people, the more organic solidarity there is, and the greater breakdown of norms, values, and beliefs that initially bonded a society together and kept order. So this is why we see in societies like Belize City, which are much larger, greater violence towards other persons, greater impersonality towards persons, and a whole lot less of that looking out for each other that we usually see in small communities. So, in a nutshell, that is what anomie is. And anomie leads to very specific consequences. Check out the videos below to learn more about anomie and its consequences.